Hello, everybody. This is our Maple Life Stories, and it's me, Karen. And I'll be doing today's vlog about the step by step application of a caregiver outside Canada. I hope you stay with me until the end of my video so you get all the information you needed. So, welcome back to our Maple Life Stories. Thank you for always supporting us, even though we cannot consistently upload videos weekly. We still have subscribers adding to our Maple Life Stories family, and we still have a lot of audience watching our videos, sharing, and liking our videos. Thank you so much. And also, before I start the vlog, I wanted to remind everybody that I am just sharing my knowledge and experience as a caregiver in Canada, and I am not a licensed immigration consultant, or I do not own an agency, or I do not know any agency that process immigration application to Canada. I have been receiving private messages lately asking for help about their application. I do not process any applications going to Canada because I am not a licensed immigration consultant. So yeah, and right, and today, as I have mentioned, I will be discussing the step-by-step application of a caregiver outside Canada, and I will also show you the checklist in the and I will also give you tips on the application, and later on I will show you some forms that you need to fill out that you need to pass to the Canada immigration. And so yeah, well, anyway, my background today is the cabinet. It's an antique, and we are living in an old house. Yeah, everything is old. We are renting this place, and it's actually a farmhouse. So as you can see, the decorations are really old, but we love it here and we are happy. So moving on to our topic, the step-by-step application. Yeah, and the new caregiver pilot, as we know, is the one of the in-demand job in Canada and an easier pathway to permanent residency. Actually, nothing is easy. It has different kind of challenges, but yeah, caregiver is one of the easier pathway to permanent residency. So, and when you apply as a caregiver from different countries, when you apply as a caregiver outside Canada, different countries have different processes. Like for example, Philippines. If you are applying from Philippines, you need to undergo POEA and OWA. You need to register as an overseas Filipino worker, and before you fly out of the country, you need to have an OEC, or the overseas employment certificate, and you have to pay for that as well. So yeah, I don't know about other countries how you will apply, because that is our experience. And right now in the if you will be applying in the Philippines, there are a lot of changes already. Like you need to undergo agency for you to have your OEC. POEA and OWA wanted to make sure that everything is legit. That's why they require you to go to the agency for your OEC so they can issue you an OEC. So yeah, that's the new process in the Philippines right now. So I am not 100% knowledgeable about that, but that's the only thing I know. When you will be processing your application outside Philippines. So yeah, anyway, it's late now and I'm quite tired, so sorry about my voice. It's kind of hoarse already. So moving on, yeah, this is a most requested topic, so I'll be doing it. Now. So let me just check my stuff in here. So for the first step, you will have a few choices, and you decide whether it is applicable in your situation, it is attainable and sustainable. So number one is you can find an employer first, and you will process your ECA, your IELTS, and your other documents later on if you have a confirmed employer and a confirmed job offer. So the advantage of this is you are certain that you have an employer, and the money that you will invest for your requirements, for your papers and others will be worth it because you are sure that you have an employer waiting for you. And the disadvantage of this is, let's say you already found an employer, but you will just start to process your documents, your ECA, your IELTS, everything. There is a big chance that your employer might back out because they cannot wait for the documents that you need for the application. So yeah, that's a big problem for you. So number two, you can accomplish your IELTS, ECA, and the rest of your documents, and then you will find your employer later. So the advantages of this is that the ECA is 5 years, is good for 5 years. Your IELTS is good for 2 years. So you will have an ample time looking for an employer. Let's say within 5 years you already have your employer there, then you already have an ECA and an IELTS to show your employer. So the waiting time for the processing of the documents is lessened, and you saved a lot of time, and your employer won't wait for too long for you to process your papers. And the disadvantage of this is there is no assurance that you will get an employer before your documents will expire. Your investment for the requirements and others might go to waste. So yeah, so these are the two situations that you need to think about. What will benefit for you, which one is better for you. So you just have to decide and weigh in your situation. So as I have mentioned from my past vlogs, so in this situation you just have to think about whether if it will be more beneficial to you, if the situation is beneficial for you, if let's say financially you are ready to to process those papers and all. So yeah, so those are the first step that you need to do: find an employer and process the papers later on, or process the paper first and then find an employer later on. Just think of the advantages and disadvantages of the two situations. So the next one is I will be showing you a video about the step-by-step guide for the application, and I will be explaining the occupation restricted open work permit that will be issued to you if you become a caregiver here. Home child care provider and home support worker application outside Canada. And as you can see, there is the occupation restricted open work permit. So you will be issued an occupation restricted open work permit, meaning if you have this work permit, you are allowed to work for any employer, but only in the occupation specified in your work permit. For example, your work permit has the home child care provider. If you were to change an employer, you need to work as a home child care provider. And if you are working as a home support worker and you wanted to change an employer, you still need to work as a home support worker if it is indicated in your work permit. So that's the meaning of occupation restricted open work permit. And now let's go to the table of contents. So for the step 1, you need to make sure you are eligible. Number one, you need to have a job offer. And you must have a job offer that meets all of these requirements. The job offer was made using Offer of Employment Form IMM 5983. So this is the IMM 5983 form. Your employer and you as the employer need to fill out this form. So you both need to sign this form at the end. And so for the section 1, you have to check whether you are working as a home child care provider and or a home support worker. And for the section 2, this is the employer information. They have to fill out their details, including the CRA business number. This is for tax purposes. Your employer need to pay your tax. And for the section 3, this is the employee information, the caregiver information. And for the UCI, you won't have this unless you already passed your documents and your forms to the Canada Immigration. So don't worry if you don't have the UCI yet, it's okay to skip this area. And you have to put in your details like your country of birth, citizenship, mailing address, and other stuff. And if you are bringing your family members to Canada, you have to check yes or no. If how many are accompanying you to Canada. If you have your kids, you have to indicate their ages, and you have to provide the age of each child accompanying you to Canada. And residential work location, if your work will be performed at the employer's principal's residence, you can just check yes or no. If no, then you must provide the details of where the employee will work. This will be for the employer to fill out. And for the section 5, if you were living into your employer, so your employer must must fill this out, because they have to provide the details of the house, of the area where you will be staying. So let's say, will the employee reside in the home where the work is being performed? Just check yes or no. If yes, will the accompanying family members be living with the employee? If maybe you have an agreement with your employer, if maybe they have let's say a place for your husband or your wife or your children to stay, maybe they can let you stay in their place. So they have to check this, if yes or no. So okay, I check yes. And they have to indicate if the employee and the accompanying family members is going to live in together with the employer, and you have to give the detail of the accommodation. They have to give the detail of the accommodation. The bedroom, is the bedroom furnished, and other details indicated here. And so for the section 6, your employer need to fill out the duration of your contract. Let's say you will be working with them for 2 years, so they have to write here. And anticipated start date, the approximate date that you need to start working for them. And for the section 7, the job description, the job title, and what will the employee be doing on a daily basis, your responsibilities as an employee, and minimum experience or skills requirements of the job. So yeah, the employer I'm sorry, it's getting mixed up. So the employer must fill out this section And for this one, the employee agrees to provide services as a caregiver to the following person requiring care. So let's say you will be taking care of an elderly. So the elderly name should be written here, and the age and the type of care that you need to do as a caregiver. And on section 8, this will be for the work schedule and wages. So it will be indicated at this part. So they will also indicate if about your overtime pay and the wages that will be offered to you. So your employer need to make sure that everything is legit and everything is in accordance to the law. You should not be underpaid, and you should be given the right compensation and wages. So for section 9, the benefits, if your employer will give you dental insurance, disability insurance, vacation, and other benefits. And section 10, recruitment fees. The employer shall not recoup from the employee through payroll deductions or any other means the fees they have paid to a third-party recruiter or recruitment agency or their authorized representative. So the employer should not deduct that from your pay. And then section 11, notice of resignation. And the next one is for the termination of employment. And section 13, declaration of employer. And section 14, consent of employer. And last will be the signature of the employer. And the declaration, that's not the last. There's a part for the employee. Section 16, declaration of the employee. And this is the last, the signature of the employee. So never ever forget to put signature on this form, or else the immigration will give it back to you to be signed. Okay, so that's it for the job offer. The offer of employment. And number 2, the job offer must be genuine and likely to be valid when you are issued a work permit. So your work permit will be issued when you arrive at the airport. The immigration will assess your papers and then your employers. So when you arrive at the airport, you need to have a valid job, meaning you still have a job waiting for you before they issue your work permit. And next one is the job offer was made by a single Canadian employer for a position outside the province of Quebec. So this is not applicable if your employer is in Quebec. So, and number 2, proficiency in English or French. So this will you need to have your IELTS or your CELPIP for this one, for your English proficiency. And you need to have 1 year post-secondary education, qualifying Canadian work experience. So this section will be assessed after you have obtained your occupation restricted work permit, meaning this will be assessed after you completed the 2-year program for the home child care and the home support worker. This is for your permanent residence eligibility. This will come later on. So you can read on the other details here because it's too long. I think it will be better if you can read it through so you will better understand. I cannot discuss everything here because it will take forever. So I just would like to focus on the step-by-step application. So that's it for the eligibility. For the step 2, you need to gather your documents. There is a document checklist for all the applicants, so it will be easier for everybody to gather all the forms that you need to fill out. So let me show you. It's here. This is the IMM 5981, the document checklist for your application as a caregiver. So they all listed the forms that you need to apply, fill out and pass to the CIC. So when you are done with the forms, you just check the box so that you make sure that you are sure that your requirements are complete. So everything is here, and yeah, you need to accomplish all of this, and never ever forget to sign each form at the end of the form, because if you forget to sign or if you forget to fill out one section, they will give you back the form and it will result in a delay of your application. Here we are in the step 3, so you can fill in your form. So when you open the forms, what will happen is, what will come out is this one. So you need to download this, and then so you can open the forms. So how did I do that? You need to download the form first before you can open it in the Acrobat Reader. So that's my tip. So when I was doing this, it was a challenge because I don't know how to open the forms. I have to change computers, I have to update my Acrobat Reader. But what you need to do is to download this form, save this form, and then when you save the form, you can open it using the Adobe Acrobat Reader. Where is it? There you go. And then open it, and then it will open up. Okay, let's wait for it. There you go. So that's my tip. Okay, so this is how the generic application form looks like. There you go. Okay, so I'm back to this page. So here are the forms that you needed to do, and there are explanation below about the spouses, partners, and dependent children that is included in your application. Step 4. So after you fill out the forms, you need to pay the fees. So here are the fees that you need to pay. So here you go. If this is for the permanent residence fees. If you are applying for your work permit, this is the fee. So you'll be paying $255. And if you are bringing your husband or your wife, they will have an open work permit. And also for the dependent child is $255. So here's the instruction on how to pay the fees for your application. You need a valid email address, access to a printer because you need to print the receipt and include it in your application, a credit card or a Canadian debit card. So here's the instruction. You can go to online payment. Let's try to open this. Okay, so here is the page for the online payment for your application. So just click the box, work permit. Okay, just let's say you are applying for this one, just click it, and then quantity, you can just check maybe 1, and then work permit, and then 1, and then you click submit. Okay, so that's how you do online payment. And last one is to submit the application. If you have completed everything, if you have um, filed your documents in one envelope, in one folder, everything, you can submit the application. If before, in the old pathways, you need to go to the visa processing center to submit your application for the new pilot. You need to send your application to this address, so you can mail your completed application in a stamped envelope to the address shown below. If you are applying for a home children care provider pilot, and if you are applying for a home support worker pilot, you should send it to this address. So there's two different address for the two different pilots. All right, so that's it for the step-by-step application of a caregiver outside Canada. I have decided to just show the screen recording and discuss what's the step-by-step and give you some tips, because let's say if I focus on one country, and for example the Philippines, if I focus on the application of a caregiver in the Philippines, it will be unfair for the other non-Filipino viewers. So I guess this screen recording step by step would benefit everybody, all the viewers, because as I have mentioned, each country has different processes of application of a caregiver going to Canada. So anyway, I wish that I gave you some important or vital information and tips about filling out the forms, about what to do, about what to write on the forms and others. I hope I have answered your questions also for the step-by-step application. So yeah, I think that's it for today. I hope to see you in our next vlog, and I hope you stay safe and stay healthy as always. Goodbye!